Good evening, everyone. I now call this meeting to order at 5:32 p.m. Please play the land acknowledgement.
The land upon which we work, live, and sustain ourselves is the ancestral and treaty lands of the Michizagig Anishinaabe, also known today as the Mississaugas of the Credit, the rightful caretakers and title holders of this land. We also recognize the rich pre-contact history and relationships which include the Anishinaabe and the Ongwe Hongwe.
Since European contact, this land continues to be home to Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples. As responsible community members, we value the diversity, dignity, and worth of all people.
Colonialism displaced and dispossessed Indigenous peoples of their ancestral land
and continues to deny their basic human rights, dignities, and freedoms.
We are committed to learning true history to reconcile, make reparations, and fulfill our treaty obligations to the original peoples and our collective responsibilities to the lands, water, animals, and each other for future generations.
Trustee Clark, will you please? We're going to make a little amendment to the agenda. We're going to move item number 7.2 down to after till last. We're going to switch 7.2 to and 7.3.
Okay, I can put that on the floor.
And then Trustee Molly second that one?
Yeah.
Any questions?
No.
All in favor? Still carried.
Okay. Yeah.
Any declarations of conflict of interest? Seeing none. Next item, approval of the minutes of the CE Curriculum Committee meeting held on October 8th. Trustee Promoli, will you move the minutes to the floor? Trustee Benjamin, can you second that, please?
Aye.
Are there any questions? Comments? Minutes on the minutes? None? Can I have that approval? All right, so moved. There are no delegations this evening. So item 7.1 is here for information and approval. It will be presented by Superintendent Stubbins. Can you put it on the floor, Trustee Clark? Trustee Promoli, can you second it? Okay. For teams.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. I certainly appreciate the opportunity. I'm excited to share a little bit about student leadership that's happening in our board, and really it's just the highlights from the Fusion work. And because we at Peel like our acronyms, Fusion stands for Fostering Unity, Safety, Inclusion, and Oneness. So this is a project that started in February 2024 in our middle schools, and they're in approximately 50 middle schools now in Peel. So the model is super simple. We have an opening conference with our students. We have a mid-year follow-up and feedback, and a closing conference. And so Fusion is student leadership, and really it's designed to help students develop skills in terms of addressing climate that they see needs some improvement in their schools. We all want learning environments that are safe, caring, inclusive, and positive. And the program really does develop pro-social behaviors among students, mostly again in our middle schools. There is a video in the slide. I don't see it there. It's about 1 minute and 20 seconds. So if you wouldn't mind playing it, I'll just give you a really quick overview of one of our conferences.
Today we are here for Fusion, which stands for Fostering Unity, Safety, Inclusion, and Oneness. And what this is it's an initiative that was born out of the need for student leadership. So as a safety and wellbeing team, we came together and said, how can we really get students involved in creating solutions to change climate in our schools? They heard from Ontario's second Fourth Laureate Testament. They participated in workshops. In each of the workshops, they gained a set of skills that then they're now applying to an action plan, identifying the greatest area of need in their schools according to them, and then they're coming up with a plan of how to tackle that need and how to ensure that that need is being met in their school.
I enjoyed it a lot, and I learned a lot of new things so far. I really liked the workshop we did with the animation. I felt like I learned a lot during that. It's been a great opportunity to learn so many new things.
I got to meet some new friends by playing a game, and we got to have so much fun over here at Fusion. We learned about like action planning, like how we can fix some problems that we have in our school. It was actually really fun.
It really empowers students to understand that they are not powerless, that they can affect change, and if they come together as a community, they can really see what they want to happen in their schools.
So during these conferences, I think the staff have as much fun as the students. So they're really positive events for the kids. Next slide, please. So at the opening conference, we do have a keynote speaker, and the students do choose among a variety of workshops that they can learn. They're guided with staff, they learn certain skills, they talk about the areas of need in their school, and then they develop a plan on how they're going to carry out and address the need that they have identified. So here are a couple of pictures of some of our opening conferences. We try and be inclusive in the conferences. We have Indigenous drumming, mindfulness, emotional regulation. We have dance halls, spoken word, podcasting, different software on iPads, and really learning how to communicate about creating inclusive spaces. And mid-year, we meet again as a group with their teachers, and the students come with their presentations already created, and they present their work to other schools. And really the students just walk around and share best practices, share their ideas, some of the successes, and some of the pieces that they are still working on. During the meetings, again, sometimes we give them scavenger hunts, so they have to go and look at all the other presentations and, again, provide feedback, but really engage in conversations with their peers about what is working well at their school, what they're proud of, and some of the gains that they have made. The closing conference is also pretty dynamic. We do, again, have a keynote speaker, and it's really celebratory. So we always want to do large group activities to build community among the kids, such as drumming, team building. We had a silent disco. We have prizes for the students, but it's really a celebration of the work that they've accomplished during the year. So there's an example of one of our drumming activities that was done in the boardroom, and throughout they talk about living in harmony, unity, and belonging with each other. The next slide, you have this PowerPoint. So just briefly, you can see the growth over the years. We started with 27 schools, and we now have almost 50. And we used to have school teams of 4 and 5, and now we have school teams of 15 and 20. So really proud of the growth and how that has taken off. And we have some alignments, obviously, with the multi-year strategic plan around safety, student well-being, and inclusion, and also around our bullying prevention and intervention plan. Many of these school teams include or select anti-bullying as an area of focus to address climate in their schools. And then some of the teams as well, some of the kids participate in the Upstander program, which is to be an upstander around bullying and peer mediation. And some of the action plans from the kids, they're really pretty amazing. They lead their own assemblies in schools. They do podcasts. They have campaigns. In the next slide, you can see on the bottom right how to behave in the bathroom. They lead code of conduct assemblies. They talk about kindness and unity. And it's really nice to see the kids interact with each other and really make changes to their school environments. And again, we are successful, lots of workshops. We have to commend staff for supporting students in our middle schools for this, sharing best practices. And we'd really like to increase this into our secondary schools as well. So again, Fusion is about, I want to commend the students and the staff for creating and sustaining learning environments that really are free of discrimination and racism and hurtful comments, and really commending students for creating spaces and places where they enjoy learning and they really have positive school experiences. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Oh, we're going to put it on the floor. So any questions, comments? Trustee Clark?
Thank you through you, Chair. How do we get kids involved, our students involved in Fusion? What is the process? How does that work?
Thank you for the question, Trustee Clark, and through you, Chair Bailey. We have safety and wellbeing resource teachers who work in some priority middle schools, and so they start the Fusion initiative in the schools by speaking with students, typically those who are walking the hallways and not engaged in classrooms, and saying, what is it about this environment that you're not in your class, and would you like to work towards improving it? We also have 20.5 safety and wellbeing resource teachers who begin this in their schools as well. But I think word has spread, and now teachers are speaking to teachers about creating fusions in their own schools.
Thanks. Thank you.
Trustee Paroli?
Thank you. I really appreciate this initiative. It's been nice over the last couple of years to be able to pop in and see the conference when it's happening here, and seeing the kids engaged and just really enjoying themselves. And this is just, I think, an incredible way to get kids engaged and give them some of these leadership skills. And I just love it. I love it top to bottom. And I also really love the silent disco. So if anyone happens to be around when that's happening, just go do it. It's really fun. But I think you're doing really great work here, and I really appreciate it. This is a really fantastic opportunity. And yeah, keep it up. It's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Benjamin?
Thank you, and through you, Chair, I'd like to thank Superintendent Stubbings for this lovely presentation, and it's a great initiative, I think, by the PDSB. My question is, how many middle schools do we have in the PDSB?
Thank you for that difficult question, Trustee Benjamin, and through you, Chair. Gosh, do we have about 100 middle schools? 43, thank you. And we're in about 47 school elementary, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so which means you've covered all the middle schools. Thank you so much. But my question is, sometimes we see that our students, grade 4 and 5 students, are also kind of misbehaving. So I think it would be a good idea to include grade 4 and 5 students to this kind of a program, it would be great. Anyway, thank you very much. And I really appreciate this initiative.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for that comment. And certainly I'll take it back to the team. I appreciate that.
Thank you. No other questions? I do have a comment. I do remember the first year that Fusion started. It's been amazing to see how it's grown. So my hat goes off to you and your team to see it grow. Are you keeping track of the data metrics in your students to see like quantitative and qualitative to see how feedback from them?
Thank you, Chair, for the question. We do. I didn't bring that data with me today.
I'm not asking you for support. I just wanted to know, are you keeping track of it?
We do. So we track comments from students, anecdotal comments from teachers. We track numbers of students sent to the contact room, office referrals, all of those pieces. Yes.
In behavioral changes.
Correct. Yes. And so another thing that we're also trying to do is connect it to the Safe and Accepting School team, because they're responsible for the bullying prevention and intervention plan. And so that requires student voice. And so we bring in our Fusion teams when looking at the bullying prevention intervention and seeing how we're doing as well.
Reason I'm asking is because I'd like to see it over the long term, over a 5-year difference, what it would look like, what the behavioral difference over 5 years of this program, what is it like? That's just what I want to see, if you're keeping track of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
No more questions? All right. Thank you, folks. This report is only for receipt. It has been moved and second. All in favor? So carried. All right. So moving to items. Thank you, Superintendent Seven. Thank you. Okay, moving to item 7.3. It's here for information and approval. It will be presented by Superintendent Chavarro. Trustee Crumoli, could you please put this item on the floor? And Trustee Benjamin, can you second this item? Okay, over to you, Superintendent.
Thank you so much, Trustee Bailey, and thank you for providing us with the opportunity to present this very, very exciting opportunity that the Peel District School Board has started with this September. Presenting with me and on behalf of the curriculum department is a resource teacher, Delia Chen, supported by coordinating principal Sophia Saleh, who is responsible for elementary programming in the curriculum department. So I'll turn it over to Delia for the presentation.
Through you, Chair, and thank you, Superintendent Chavarro. I'll be presenting the oral report on behalf of Curriculum and School Improvement on Growing Healthy Places to you. Peel District School Board is participating in a global research project called Growing Healthy Places that is committed to accelerating change in health equity by building impactful local partnerships to support health and well-being in underserved school communities in Mississauga. So currently, Peel is engaged in a collaborative partnership with the Ontario Physical Health Education Association, as well as local implementation partners such as 880 Cities, Brock, and Delivery Associates. The Growing Healthy Places project has 3 main goals: to support student and community engagement, well-being, and sense of belonging; to provide inclusive and equitable access to physical activity and healthy eating programs in underserved elementary school communities in Mississauga; to support school capacity for lasting impact and sustainable change. Growing Healthy Places is part of a 3-year multi-country project guided by a global evidence-based approach. The aim is to support local partners in each country to co-design, deliver, and evaluate programs that support healthy eating and physical activity for students in grades 3 to 8. So the Peel District School Board is Canada's voice in this global project. We are the one city representing Canada, and there are 4 other cities in 4 other countries in the world that are participating in this special project. The scope of Growing Healthy Places is from the timeline from June 2025 when they were recruited, and the conclusion will be in December 2027. There are currently 22 schools that are participating in this project. 12 are reference schools, and reference schools are schools that provide baseline data about student health and well-being over time. They also receive school honorariums for participating in this project. And then there are 10 schools that are called activation schools. And these activation schools receive funding for physical activity and healthy eating interventions at their schools, as well as participation school honorariums. Examples of activation programs include student nutrition programs, physical activity programs, as well as improvements to infrastructure enhancements. The anticipated outcomes of Growing Healthy Places are twofold. 1, community engagement, to collaborate and partner with families and communities for improved outcomes. So we are partnering with local community partners such as Peel Public Health, City of Mississauga, as well as local food banks, for example. And Number two, activation interventions within schools to ensure barriers are identified and removed for students to provide access to physical activity and healthy eating programs. And this is the exciting part that is happening. So currently, Growing Healthy Places has just started. We are excited to engage with community partners to implement these programs to support student and health and well-being in schools, and activation programs are set to begin implementation in 2026. This concludes my report for Growing Healthy Places, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Here. Questions, comments? Trustee Clark.
Yes, thank you through you, Chair. It was, it's another, that long-awaited, new process for us to be a part of. And to show the quality of the work that we do in Peel. What do we share between ourselves, Peel, and the like-minded organizations in other countries, and how secure is that for us, or how are we making that exchange of information secure?
Thank you for that question. And through you, Chair. So before we engage in any partnership, we go through a rigorous process with research, finance, all the departments relevant to the study that we are engaging in. We never share direct student data, so it's all de-identified data, and it is very specific data that we have allowed for sharing to happen. At the end of the day, we really want to know how improvement happened for our students. What were the successes? What are the learning goals? And what we can do to replicate, amplify, and leverage across the system.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm curious about the reference schools. But I'm curious about how the activation schools and the reference schools were chosen and what the communications were like with the reference schools. I guess that's sort of my starting point.
Thank you for the question through you, Chair. There was a recruitment process in June, so 2025 of this year. There was an eligibility to apply for schools in Mississauga. So based on certain criteria within the schools due to population, as well as school portraits. So there was a selection process based on geography, infrastructure, location, as well as school portraits. And at the end of the day, 22 schools were chosen, 12 were reference, and 10 were activation schools.
Thank you. And through your Chair, what is the communication like with parents about this? Because as a parent, I would be curious about this program, both as if I had a child in the activation school or in the reference school, I'd be curious about the process here, about what is being collected in terms of information, how it's going to be used. So I'm just curious about the overall process. I think this is fascinating. And I can see a lot of benefits to it, but I'm just curious about how this is being played out.
Thank you for the question through you, Chair. There are communication letters that go home to caregivers and parent guardians. There's also a community hub that is set up by the Ontario Physical Health Education Association, which is our partner in this project. Before student surveys go home, there are consent permission forms that are also required for students and families.
Okay, so just one last question to you, Chair. So it's definitely sort of an opt-in process, correct? So it's not that there's, okay.
I'm just gonna, thank you for the question, and through you, Chair. At any point in time, a family can opt out of participation. It does not mean that the children will not engage in all of the wonderful activities. They will still do so. The opt-out would be in terms of sharing the data.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Trustee Benjamin?
Yeah, thank you, and through you, Chair. So you mentioned a certain number of schools that are being put into this project, and they are in Mississauga. So this is something that the Mississauga trustees would be interested in. So if there is a school in Ward 5 that is included in this, will I be informed about it?
Thank you for that question, Trustee Benjamin, and through you, Chair. Yes, of course, we will. We have not informed our trustees about this project because we haven't started the implementation. That starts in January. So that is part of the process and our next steps. At this point in time, we felt that it was prudent first to share the report and the research and the purpose, and then we would be able to connect with the specific trustees. And hopefully you will be able to come and attend some of the activation sessions that we're hosting.
Thank you. And I have one more question, because some of the activities that are included in this, which are great, is already being carried out in many of the schools, especially like food. I know of one school where there's a group of people who belong to a particular organization that are just coming and delivering every week food to the school, and because it's a needy school. So a lot of these things are going on, but I'm glad something like this is happening, and our schools are being connected to other countries. So we are, coming together to promote these kind of healthy activities. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, another question. I do have one question. I know it's with the city of Mississauga. Did you do the application with the city of Mississauga?
Thank you for this question through you, Chair. The community partner approached Peel District School Board, and they chose Mississauga prior to coming to Peel District School Board. So Mississauga was part of the global study, and they came to Peel District School Board and asked to engage with us, and that's how the conversation began.
Thank you for clarifying. All right. No more questions? All right. Oh, Susan. Thank you.
I just want to add something. Maybe Mississauga has been chosen because earlier Mississauga had a connection with Japan, and the Korea Park, which is there in Mississauga, has been a contribution by the Japanese. Maybe that could be the reason why they chose Mississauga. I'm not sure. I'm just adding some information. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Benjamin. All right. Thank you, Superintendent Smith.
Close.
Not even close. We switched. Yes. Thank you, Superintendent Sparrow. This report is for receipt only. It's been moved and seconded. All right. Yeah. Yes, item 7.3. And it's here for information and approval, and it will be presented by Superintendent Smith. Trustee Benjamin, can you put this item on the floor, please? And Trustee Clark, can you second it?
Thanks. Thank you so much, and good evening, everyone. This presentation is a little bit longer than the others just because I'm going to be giving you some background with regards to updates for how it is that we are embracing artificial intelligence in the Peel District School Board. And so thank you, and through you, Chair Bailey, we are pleased to provide you with an update on how we are advancing artificial intelligence at PDSB. And I am here today with coordinating principal, Tony Mosconi, who will join me to provide some demonstrations for you as well. And if you have your computers, perhaps you can jump in a little bit later too. Together, we'll share our journey and vision for empowering modern learners through innovative approaches. Artificial intelligence is rapidly transforming how students learn and how educators teach, making it essential for Peel District School Board to proactively integrate AI into its educational practices. By addressing AI, PDSB ensures that all learners, especially those who are neurodiverse, multilingual, or historically underserved have equitable access to personalized, innovative, and inclusive learning experiences. Responsible AI integration also helps safeguard student privacy, promote ethical use, and build educator and leader capacity, preparing both students and staff for success in a digital future. Ultimately, embracing AI supports PDSB commitment to equity, well-being, and lifelong learning in an evolving technological landscape. So our work is guided by a comprehensive AI strategy that ensures that every initiative is purposeful and precise. The strategy encompasses policy development, privacy and security, communication, professional learning, resource creation, partnerships, pilots, and impact review. Each pillar is designed to support our educators, students, and families as we integrate AI across the district. In terms of policy development, we are committed to developing policies that inform and support safe, ethical, and inclusive AI use. Interim guidance addresses digital citizenship, privacy, equity, mental health, legal compliance, and more. These policies ensure that our learning environments remain welcoming and respectful while also adapting to new technologies. After I finish speaking, Tony will be taking you a little bit more deeper into these to give you a greater insight into several of the items that we think that will be very good for you to have greater knowledge about. In terms of communication, effective communication is key to building awareness and understanding of AI. We've launched system-wide campaigns and developed over 100 resources for events like Cybersecurity Awareness Month and Digital Literacy Week, all with a focus on AI. These efforts help keep our community informed and engaged. This week alone was Computer Education Science Week, and we have had many schools engage in various activities with many resources that have been provided by our team and led by our team within immersive, job-embedded professional learning, and many of our students also leading that work for other students, high school students, for feeder school students, elementary school students. We provide ongoing support through resources such as our newly formed AI Learning Matrix. This is going to be shared with the system shortly, and I'm going to just escape this for a second so I can give you a little advanced peek of what this looks like. So the AI Learning Matrix has been developed in consultation with department staff. We have an AI steering committee, and with other external partners who have expertise with AI, as well as our EdTech Empower Modern Learning team, to develop resources and references for use by classroom teachers. So for instance, we have it in 4 areas. What is AI? Building AI literacy and digital citizenship, AI privacy, security and data, equity and bias with AI. And each of them have subsections. The way that this matrix works is the teacher or the principal can click on, for instance, what is artificial intelligence? And our team, with the support of cross-departmental staff, have developed understanding and overview for kindergarten to grade 2, grade 3 to 5, grade 6 to 8, and grade 9 to 12. So for instance, in the grade K to 2 for overview, students will recognize the difference between things made by people, artificial, and things found in nature, understanding the difference. Students will identify and describe simple ways reactive, predictive, generative, and autonomous artificial intelligence is used in everyday life. And then we provide something to watch and listen. So through a universal design for learning, which is UDL, as well as through culturally responsive and relevant pedagogy, which is reflective of the diversity of our students and staff. We have here many different resources for our teachers to engage themselves and with students appropriate to grade levels. And then there's also read. So we have things here that they can access, text that they can read, and sample activities, not full lessons that we feel are too onerous for everyone, but rather just some ideas of what that they can do there, and so on. So for each of these areas, again, they would go through the matrix and work through that. So this is something that we're piloting right now and will be shared with staff. And we feel that it is necessary for students to have a consistent resource base to learn from about AI. So I'm going to continue with the presentation. In terms of resource creation, I'm also going to give you a glimpse at something that we have been working on with one of our external partners, which is the University of Guelph CARE AI Institute of Research. So it is a reputable university research department that focuses on AI. We shared with them our AI interim guidance, and in turn, we have been working with them to develop small, short 15-minute modules, asynchronous, meaning people can access them at their own pace and learn from them. And we are doing this with several partners, in fact. And I think, yes, here it is. So this is what the module would look like. And an educator can go in and they can begin their selection of learning. This happens to be module 4, but there are other modules before that are basic learning about AI and how it's integrated into practices, which includes readings, video clips, and so on that have been developed by the university that are grounded in research. So that's just some examples of the kind of resources that we have, and Tony will share a little bit more afterwards as well. With parents, we are developing resources for parents as well. And we are updating our website where these will be on there. And so this is something that is very important for us so that we work with you as partners. And we have also developed a parent committee for our innovation focus in the board that stems from PIC. So if any of you are interested in joining that committee, we are very happy to have you on board as well. A robust governance framework underpins our approach to privacy and security. Centralized oversight and rigorous review processes ensure that every AI tool, every one, meets strict standards before approval. Our Information, Privacy, and Security Committee oversees compliance, and only vetted software is permitted for use. We offer multiple pathways for professional learning to meet the diverse needs of our staff. Initiatives include AI summits, Spark sessions, LEAP projects, and specialized training for educators and teacher librarians. These opportunities build system-wide capacity and foster innovation in teaching and learning. We also have EML, Empowering Modern Learning, leads in every school, and EML administrator leads in every family of schools that goes through an extensive level of professional learning and resource sharing with us as well. In just 6 months, educator adoption and confidence in AI have grown significantly. More educators are using AI regularly, and hesitancy has declined. This shift reflects a documented improvement in understanding how AI can enhance learning and support student success. AI is transforming the student journey by enabling personalized inquiry, individualized assessment, targeted intervention, and interactive stimulations. For educators and leaders, AI supports data-driven operations, staff training, budget planning, and efficient communications, making our system more responsive and effective. Student, parent, and community voices are central to our AI initiatives. We engage advisory councils and conduct ongoing consultations to ensure our practices remain transparent, equitable, and responsive. Feedback directly informs our digital learning and innovation strategy. We collaborate with industry and community partners. We're up to 80 community and industry partners right now, not necessarily just for AI, but for EdTech, to support educators and students through AI-driven pilots. These partnerships bring real-world learning opportunities and foster innovation, helping us stay at the forefront of educational technology. Our piloting process is rigorous and evidence-based, emphasizing equity and iterative refinement. Each pilot is evaluated for student engagement, accessibility, data privacy, ethical use, and achievement. Selection criteria ensure alignment with board priorities and meaningful support for learning. We regularly review the impact of our initiatives, including Summit Series, our LEAP, and our Spark projects that you'll know about. The results show improved student outcomes, capacity building, and extensive educator engagement. Our projects consistently align with board goals and demonstrate measurable progress and are being sought out from others across Ontario in different districts and beyond. We proactively address risks associated with AI adoption. Short-term risks like inconsistent use and privacy breaches are mitigated through professional learning and clear resources. Medium-term equity gaps are addressed with audits and advisory input, while long-term risks are managed through curriculum integration and strategic partnerships. Looking ahead, our priorities include scaling district-wide learning, expanding student innovation, finalizing key partnerships, and enhancing family resources. We will continue to build on our strong foundation and implement the AI strategy with expanded support for all stakeholders. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Coordinating Principal Tony Mosconi, who will provide you with a look into some of the resources on our internal SharePoint for staff, as well as demonstrations of use of 2 AI tools.
Just going to go to our SharePoint because we find that it's easy to work through the SharePoint. You can see all of the strategies and the resources we have, and all of you would be able to have access to this. So if we land on our My site, you would go under Departments, then you scroll down under Innovation, Artificial Intelligence and Pathways, and then Empowering Modern Learners, which would take you to our landing page. And just as a brief overview, under EML resources would be one-page supports for educators if they have tools in their schools, in their classrooms that they're looking to get professional learning on. Our team would create resources that live there that they can utilize. Under our Brightspace chiclet would be our supported virtual learning environment and resources to support there. We also support the science curriculum and the coding and computer studies curriculum, so there would be resources within each of those chiclets. Our privacy and data security and digital citizenship resources are under that chiclet. And then, as Bernadette was mentioning, leading education projects and Spark projects. You can see previous years under that chiclet. Last year there was 189 schools who participated, so you can see their projects listed. And then at the bottom, where we would have our approved software within the board. So the apps and software, you can see the spreadsheet of all of the ones that are approved. To request a ticket, there's a form there, a button that can be used. In addition to, we also support the libraries, and there's a library chiclet there. We have our magazine, which is where we communicate. So part of the AI strategy was how are we communicating out to the board around the different pieces that we're running. So through our magazine would be events or student-led initiatives or resources that we've pushed out across the district, both what has happened and what's coming up. So we will always have a page around EdTech innovation. We have our AI page. Every issue is updated with resources to support in the classroom. We have our library learning commons section. So this would be resources to support teacher librarians, in addition to all educators through e-text. We also have our science and technology section, our coding, computer studies, and D2L. So every issue there'd be resources to support. We post our recent memos here, so it's kind of in a one-stop shop. And then any upcoming or past. So in this issue, we had the EdTech conference that happened just recently. So there's an impact report there. And then we highlight students each issue. So there was students from Herb Campbell who went to the World Robotic Olympiad Championship, and they placed in Panama, 3rd place. So we've highlighted them there. We had a student from Central Peel who also participated. And then different events. So we had a rocketry event that recently happened. We're advertising Peel Skills that's coming up in the springtime for schools to start to register, in addition to other robotics competitions. We have innovation accelerators across the district. So each issue we're highlighting one of those accelerators. Most recently was Roberta Bondar. There's information there in addition to a video. Our AI, all of our AI offerings are posted through here. and then different tool resources that our partners would send. We also partner with our IT, our learning technology department. So every issue there's a piece from them. And then our EML Twitter handle. So it sort of follows the same roadmap each issue. The content would change every month. And then lastly, we'll show you our AI chiclet. And this would be the resources to support. So at the top, we have AI guidance one-pagers, AI tools one-pagers, and student resources. I'll get to that in just 1 second. But our AI intern guidance has 13 subsections. So if you hover over one section, it will give you a summary statement that you can get at a glance. What's that portion about? And then we also have our infographic, which will highlight the AI intern guidance visually. And then if you want to go deeper within a particular topic, you would click on it. So if I'm looking to find out more information around privacy, one of the subsections is AI data security and privacy. It will give me information around it. It hyperlinks to a memo that gives you information on what can and cannot be shared through an AI tool. And then lessons to support. These lessons would be on data privacy, and they go from K to 12. So the team was just looking as a way for one page to be able to provide all that information at a glance. And then, so that would be at the bottom. And then these particular sections, so the AI guidance one pager will give you information on different aspects of AI. So how to improve teacher workflow, how to use AI within critical thinking, different generative AI tools, terms associated with it. So there's those pieces. And then we have ones that are specific to tools that are approved within the board. So we would have MyDomo is one of them, how to improve workflow for teaching K to 5, K to 6, and effective prompting. So all of those are available for review if you'd like to go later and take a look. And then the last one is student resources. So providing resources in student-friendly language. And this page isn't loading, but it would be an infographics to support in student-friendly language from K to 12. So that this would be our site that you're able to review. And if I go back to the presentation, we'll do a quick demonstration. This one talks about Notebook LM, which was recently approved for educator use. And at the bottom, this are the main features that would be available. And you could put in sources. So let's say, for instance, you're looking at a teacher's looking at a lesson on rocks and minerals. They can upload the source that they want into Notebook LM. It will provide an audio overview for it in a podcast form, a video overview. It can create a mind map. So connecting concepts, flashcards for students that they can interact with, a quiz, and an infographic. And you would have seen some of the infographic examples earlier in the presentation as they've been layered in throughout. And then our other approved tool is Copilot, and being able to, again, support teacher workflow through Copilot. And I'm just going to go to this screen over here to give you a demo of one of the pieces within Copilot. It's called Copilot Teach, and it allows an educator, and it's a supportive tool. So under our, all of us would have access to M365. You go under lesson plan, and then you would type in what your topic is. So if I was doing science, I'm a grade 4 teacher, I would write in here, provide a lesson on rocks and minerals. And then you can add the strands. So because we're using the board approved tool, it links to all of the different curriculum areas. We'll scroll down to Canada, and then we go under Ontario, and then I'm looking for grade 4, and then it'll pull up the strand. I'm looking for science, and then I click science, and then it has all of our Ontario curriculum under here. And let's say I wanted to go through strand E under rocks and minerals. I can do the overall. If I want to go furthermore, I can select the specific expectations as well. I can do cross curriculars. So let's say I'm doing a science and a language lesson. I can add language in there. It'll allow you the minutes. Some periods are 1 hour, some are 45 minutes, depending on what you like. So that will generate that. and it will provide a lesson. And then the teacher is able to go through and review and see, does this meet their needs? Where can they refine? So let's say they've looked at it, they don't really like it too much, or they wanted to add something. The AI will provide suggestions for you. So here they've asked me to add a virtual rock museum, use trivia games, incorporate peer review for investigation. I can click on more suggestions, or I can add my own. So after I've reviewed that, and then I can even select the tone. So this is more instructional. If I wanted an interactive lesson, I would click that, creative and inclusive. So it really allows you to further refine this lesson to tailor and meet the needs of the educator. And then the last one, one of the main ones that we're using this year are that for the last few years have been through Reading Progress. And what this is through Microsoft Teams, the AI is analyzing the student behavior as they're reading. What it's doing here is it's analyzing the student as they're reading, and it's color coding the different errors they're making, whether they're adding words, they're missing words, they're making self-corrections, or repeating. And then it'll give them a overview at the end, and it will develop challenge activities for them. So if they're always getting a particular word wrong or the structure of the word, it will automatically do that through the AI.
Great, so that was a high-level overview of some of the work that we're doing for the AI strategy in the Peel District School Board and some examples, but certainly we're open to providing more time for you to have opportunities to interact with some of the tools too. So we're very happy to set that up through our Associate Director. At this time, we're happy to take any questions. Questions? Trustee Clark?
Okay. Okay, through you, Chair, I'm afraid I have some multiple questions with multiple branches. This is, to use the vernacular, seems pretty cool. I'm a big Star Trek fan, so I love the idea. So I try to approach this with the optimism of that, how technology can enhance humanity's good points for the future. I'm also a little wary of how it can affect personal decision making, creativity. So let's see what I got here. Okay. The AI, the data. You gave one example of combining things, but what is the source of all the data that we are funneling into this system? Is it proprietary? How do we ensure that, see, I'm already branching, right? How do we ensure that this information is accurate and up to date and free from corporate bias? That's question one.
Thank you for the question. We anticipated that there would be a lot of questions, and we ourselves are continuing to learn and develop our own capacity in this area. Hence the reason why we work with many partners for this. So with regards to the use of AI tools in the districts, we are a Microsoft enterprise district with its own safeguards within it. So any data that we're using within AI, within Copilot, which is why we demonstrated Copilot, is within the guardrails of the district. And so any information that is being placed in there remains within the district's firewalls, if you will, for us to be able to access and use. We have been conducting a lot of training with staff where we go deeper with the AI interim guidance, which is very critical for the educator and the leader to understand the privacy, confidentiality, cybersecurity risks whenever they are placing information in any AI. So even though there are the guardrails, we're still asking, for instance, teachers, educators to not put any information that is identifying of any students, so names and so on. And we provide those guidelines within our memos, within the communication that we share at family of schools meetings with administrators, within staff meetings that our staff are leading as well. So with regards to data security and privacy, we do have, in collaboration with Learning Technology Support Services, a lot of different safeguards that are already in place to ensure that our data remains safe. So the training, the capacity building is where we continue to advocate for, because the more training, the more awareness that people are able to gain while using any AI tools, the better we are able to navigate and use it safely. And there are also age limitations for the use of AI, and Copilot is available for students 13 plus, which essentially is grade 9 forward.
Okay, thank you. I mean, the security of the data was going to be one of my future questions, but what I really have concerns of, in that it can also affect, the teacher. How do we, how can we be certain, and how do we ensure that we are certain that I was referring to the veracity of the information. How do we know that information is true? And that's, that is a reflection of reality, and again, free from corporate bias, because we don't, I kind of have, nightmares about them funneling their, companies favored by their shareholders. That how can we be sure that we're getting actual, and this isn't just something that may be specific to even Canada. I can see how a tool like this could be horribly misused in places like our neighbors and in authoritarian governments, where the information is specifically designed to misinform, as it were. So how do we know that we're getting the real information? Not necessarily up-to-date information, because I can understand that new discoveries, like there's a new giant, a dinosaur with its two hands that we used to think was just like a juvenile Tyrannosaurus Rex, but apparently it's a completely new species. So how do we know that the information that is in the data, that the teachers would, if they can't do it themselves, would use this tool in order to produce a lesson?
Thank you for the question, and through you, Chair. It's a great question, and it's a very valid concern in terms of how are people using the output from AI in responsible, meaningful ways. And part of that is the criticality that we bring to any text that we're reading, that we're consuming. And so we are supporting through the capacity building as well to understand that AI is not neutral. The information that is being presented through the artificial intelligence, whichever tool that we're using, is coming from information that has been gathered through a multitude of sources that have been created by humans for humans. And then the interpretation or the pattern that the AI is then identifying and spewing out and output may not necessarily be accurate. And so we talk about hallucinations and how an AI can absolutely create information that is completely inaccurate. In fact, we have a training that we're setting up, and one of the examples that we'll show as an example is using a policy, for instance, and placing it into Copilot to help to summarize and support the leader to make a decision, where we've tested it. And the information that the Copilot has given is not accurate based on the facts that are inside the policy. So when we are conducting our training, we always emphasize that any information that is being outputted from an AI needs to be reviewed, need to be edited, and so on. And that also supports with the building of capacity of prompt engineering, we call it, and the kind of prompts that you're questioning the AI with. And we also look to Zaretta Hammond for culturally responsive and relevant ways of engaging with text and support the people who we're working with to ask deeper questions, to question, for instance, what perspective did you get this response from? What perspectives are missing from this response? What data are you citing, and where are you citing this data from? So getting the citations from where that information goes from. So I can go on, but this is the kind of training that we engage with staff, and we're very happy to sit with trustees and share with you the kind of criticality that we're supporting and building. And certainly you asked another question with regards to supporting students with their critical thinking as well. And we're working with a researcher right now, Nidhi Sancheva. She's from Boise, and she deals very much with cognitive learning, the cognitive processes that we engage with when we're learning. And she talks about declarative memory and the procedural memory, and that AI is causing a huge fracture within there, where the declarative is that strenuous learning that we need to struggle with to learn something. And then the performative or the procedural learning is after you've learned the keys to a keyboard, then you're able to play piano well. Well, we have to go through all of those processes in order to get to that point. And she explains it way better than I do. And in fact, she was just working with our team because we have a train the trainer kind of model. So we're going to be taking that kind of learning and infusing it into the professional opportunities that we offer beyond the sit and get, but also when we're sitting and working alongside educators in classrooms and administrators leading schools.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so
Trustee Clark.
yes,
Say to myself.
okay.
Oh, but Susan's got her hand out. But it's not
Trustee
a question.
Benjamin? Trustee Benjamin, you had your hand up?
Susan, you're on mute.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, and through you, Chair. Oh my God, it's a great presentation. However, it's gone over my head because I'm not a tech person. I'm not a tech person, and I'm a retiree. So, and I hear so many stories of how the AI is both a boon as well as a bane of somebody's life. And how can we teach our students to be discerning that what they're doing is right, or something that they have may not be accurate, and which you have already explained, and I think Trustee Clark also touched upon those things, and you did mention. So this is from my own experience of having attended a webinar, which was presented by a doctor who said, yeah, after a long day's work, he has to go home and write out his reports, but now he can use AI. But when you use AI, he says, if you want a particular word, it goes on to that metaverse and comes up with something. But the doctor has to have the knowledge to discern whether that is the accurate word that he wanted to use. Because, you know, there may be medical terms. So he should be fully versed in his own profession. So that is one of the things that we need to tell our students. You have to be well versed in your profession. And when you're using AI, you need to know whether it is right or wrong. I can't, as you said, I don't know the technical words. And yeah, so I am thinking about my grandson, who's 8 years old and who's now going to grow up in this world. And how do we help him? Because I am a zero when it comes to AI. But it is fun listening to all this. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. One of the biggest pieces of our training that we offer out to the system is around how to use it responsibly and ethically. Because without preparing students for the future on how to use it, if they're never encountering it and then they go off to post-secondary or different places and they've never had this training, then that's where a lot of the concerns come. So through our training, we really focus on the prompting. How are we being critical with the information that's being the output? And then how are students being able to go back and engage with the AI to be able to identify what sources are relevant, what are valid, Being able to also train the teacher to look at sourcing. So one example would be if you're using it for an activity, teaching students to source the activity through the AI and then to cross-reference the source that it's provided and go back to the primary source data. So we're having them be critical that this isn't, you're not taking the information at face value, you're using that piece to be able to develop their critical thinking skills through the tool that they've been using.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Trustee Kamali?
Thank you, Chair. First of all, Trustee Clark, I just really appreciated your questions and your thoughts on it. This is such a huge topic. And Trustee Benjamin, also, I really appreciated what you had to say too. This is something that is still so new for us, and it's just going to keep growing faster than we're going to be able to get our heads around too. And I think that that's something that we have to figure out how to get our heads around, just the fact that we will never be able to keep up with it because it is just changing so quickly. And we're going to have to make sure that our students are able to keep up with the technologies that's going as best as they're going to be able. This is a very timely discussion because I have a teenager at home who's very ethically opposed to AI. And so she's very bothered by the amount of it that she's seeing, and she has a lot of questions about it. And so this is something that we had already been talking about, and then here lands this report. And so I don't know, I have so many more questions about it, so many more thoughts about it. I was trying to furiously take down notes as we were going through this, and I'll see if I can read my own handwriting, and I rarely can. But I just want to make sure that things are, let's see, things that were already addressed. Yes, I appreciated Trustee Clark's question about, what if things are wrong. Not unfamously, just in the last week or two, there's a social media platform that has a large AI portion to it that was insisting that Justin Trudeau is still the prime minister. And, yep. And so there's these things that are out there, and there's no reason for these these engines not to have this information, because of course they have this information, but we're still going to see these things sometimes go wrong. So it is important that our students understand that they're going to have to figure out how to fact check things too, because they may be fed information and they can't just assume that it's correct. They're going to have to know how to go back and not just take something as it's handed to them. They're going to have to figure out how to use these things as a tool in their learning rather than as a replacement for their learning. And so I really appreciated this portion here about declarative versus procedural learning, because that is something that I didn't have the language for this, but it's something that my teenager and I have been talking about a lot. Just actually getting, learning the things because you have to learn them, and then also learning how to do things. And these are things that you have to have both skills, but you can't replace them with a machine. So you can figure out how to use AI as a tool in your learning, but it should not be a replacement for your learning. And I think that that's where we have to get to. And I really appreciate how much work you're all putting into this, because again, this is a big, huge, wicked problem that has just sort of landed on us in the last couple of years. But I can see how carefully and diligently you're all putting the time in on this to make sure that we're doing the best that we can to prepare our educators, to prepare our students. Again, I'm going to have probably 1,000 questions, and I'm going to keep thinking about this, but I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate having the new language around it too. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to do some more reading about it, and I'm probably going to come back to you again.
If I may, through you, Chair, a reference that Dr. Sanjeva gave us is Dr. Barbara Oakley. And you can read her work, and it's truly fascinating with regards to cognition. And what you were talking about with the declarative memory is the schema that we need to develop. And that's the fear, right? When we talk about how critical thinking is declining in our students because AI is being used now, and this is more for the professional learning. But if we do not support our students to develop the schema that's needed for those fundamental skills, which would be through, for instance, mathematics and literacy instruction through the curriculum department and the phenomenal work that they're doing, we would be disservicing them essentially, because then they wouldn't have that knowledge and that learning to pull from as we do within our jobs to function effectively and be able to contribute in the way that we do. So that is certainly a reference I would give, and more. And again, we're very happy to continue the conversation.
No more questions?
I'm okay. I could go on, but that's okay. I
Yeah.
think we kind of,
Can I-
there's some overlap, so, yeah.
And if you'd
Can I-
like to.
can I just
submit
share
some
something?
questions, we have to.
Go ahead, trustee
Sorry.
Benjamin.
Yeah, okay. This is nothing to do with what you have shared, but I just had an experience just 2 days ago. Young lady who, needed some help in some interview, and then she, I asked, maybe they'll ask you to give a example of how you dealt with stressful situation. And she works in physiotherapy clinic. She's the front office receptionist, and she said, oh, maybe I could give this example. So there was this refugee lady who came from Africa, wanted a massage. She didn't know English. So the young lady was trained to use her artificial intelligence, what do you call it, the language translation or something, use that app. And so they are both going back and forth. She's talking, trying to understand the African language. The African lady is trying to explain in English. It went back and forth. And finally, it resulted in both of them being so stressed out that the patient who came there began to cry. And this one, she said, no, I maintained my cool. I was also stressed out. But finally, they did reach to some agreement. And, then she asked her, what did you do after that? Did you burst into tears? No. I went to the room we have. I sat down and took some deep breaths. So, all kinds of things can happen with artificial intelligence. I'm just sharing.
Okay, thank you, trustee Benjamin. I do have one question for you. During my earlier years, in my early years career, we did a lot of campaign with screen time, right?
Yeah.
And I noticed you had from the kindergarten years on here for AI. So with screen time, there's still a campaign for younger children up to kindergarten. But how are you doing that combating screen time with AI?
That's a great question. And the matrix that we offer are videos as well as reading materials. So books that teachers can be reading, for instance, in a kindergarten classroom to learn about fundamentals about AI and where they are in the environment, for instance. So AI has been around for 50 years. We've just kind of gotten to know about it in the last 3 years when ChatGPT made its debut in November 2022, right? And otherwise, the criticality, again, how we navigate in life. So when a child sees a McDonald's sign, right, that's literacy, right? That is telling them you're hungry. They're reading that and there's something that connects them with that. So that's the kind of learning that we are engaging our younger students in to be more cognitive, more aware of their environments. And when they are in the screen time, again, to be more critical about what it is that they're seeing and how they're engaging with it. So this matrix that we were sharing isn't about place a kindergarten student on a screen and now they're going to be engaging with AI. No, it might be that they might program one of the resources that we have, and then they're helping it to move along or do a task or whatever it might be, but not necessarily sitting in front of a screen, because AI can look differently in many different facets of life, right? So it's more of an awareness piece. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay.
Thank you. There's a note in a message there. I don't have any. So she's
7 have another week.
because we will score on okay.
I think
Thank you. Thank you.
we can go on and on.
We can.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. In any more questions? No? Okay, thank you to the Superintendent Smith. This report is for receipt only. It has been moved and seconded. All in favor? So carried. All right. Communications, there's no communication items. And trustee motions for considerations, there are none. And there's no notice of motions. May I have a motion for adjournment? Trustee Promoli and a seconder, trustee Benjamin. And thank you for all who made the trek out in this weather.
Okay.
Have a good evening, everyone. Bye.